Ever wish there was like a guidebook
Uh,
for navigating,
yeah.
the wild world of leadership? Something with a bit more grit than your
Yeah.
average self-help book?
Right.
You're in luck. Today, we're diving deep into the U.S. Army Leadership Field Manual.
Yeah. And you don't need to be fluent in camouflage or anything like that to get something out of this.
Right, yeah.
It's packed with insights that are
Sure.
surprisingly relevant to anyone who wants to,
Right.
step up their leadership game,
Well,
whether you're, running a boardroom or a
Sap?
book club or anything in between.
Okay, I'll bite.
Yeah.
What makes the Army's take on leadership so unique?
Wow.
Is it all yes, sir, no, sir,
Mm,
and barking out orders?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And that's actually where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The manual throws you a curveball right off the bat.
Okay.
It argues that leadership is not about commanding through sheer force. It's not about, lording your rank or position over people.
Right.
It's about cultivating character.
Okay.
It's about being a certain kind of person. Being.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've piqued my curiosity.
Okay.
Break it down for me.
All right.
What does the Army say makes a great leader?
Well, picture this.
Okay.
Imagine a triangle.
Okay.
The Army calls this the BETNOBU-DO framework.
Be, nay, no, do.
Be, nay, no, do.
Okay.
So it's about having a strong moral compass, understanding your role and responsibilities,
Okay.
and then taking decisive action.
So it's not enough to just be like a good person.
Right.
You need the know-how and the guts
Yeah.
to follow through.
Exactly. It's not enough to just talk the talk.
Right.
You have to walk the walk.
Okay.
And that's where the nay, no, do and the do come in.
Okay. So let's start with that foundation, the BE part. What's
Okay.
that all about?
Well, the manual lists 7 core values.
Okay. Lay them on me.
All right. So you got loyalty,
Mm.
duty, respect,
Okay.
selfless service,
Mm.
honor, integrity,
Mm.
and personal courage.
These
Some big ones.
Yeah, they're pretty universal values.
Ah.
I can see how they'd be crucial in,
Yeah.
a high-stakes environment like the military.
Of course. Yeah.
But how do they translate to everyday leadership? Like, how do I use these?
Yeah, that's the big question. How do these apply to me?
Right.
Think of it this way.
Quick.
You can teach someone how to run a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
You can teach them how to analyze data,
Okay.
but you can't teach them to have integrity.
Right.
You can't teach them to put the needs of the team above their own.
Right.
These are qualities that are cultivated
Okay.
over time through experience,
Mhm.
reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and a conscious choice to live by those values.
It's like that saying, character is what you do when no one is watching.
Exactly.
mean,
100%.
You can't, right?
You can't fake that.
You can't fake it. And the manual argues that true leadership,
Okay.
it's not revealed in those grand gestures.
Mhm.
It's not about giving these big, rousing speeches.
Right.
It's in those everyday moments.
Right.
When you choose courage over comfort, honesty over expediency,
Yeah.
service over self-interest.
hmm Okay, I'm starting to see how this goes beyond just
It might be-
barking orders.
It goes deeper.
Yeah, it's about. But let's be honest.
Okay.
Character alone
Right.
doesn't win battles
Right.
or close deals.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
You need the and do be part of the equation too, right?
Absolutely. You need both, right?
Yeah.
You need that character foundation,
Right.
but you also need the competence
hmm
to back it up.
Okay.
And that's where the NIWU comes in.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what does the NIWU entail?
So the Army might be known for
Yeah.
its tanks and its tactics,
Right.
but the manual actually stresses something
Okay.
much more subtle. Okay.
Interpersonal skills.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It emphasizes communication, team building,
Mm-hmm.
fostering a climate of trust.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Even in a
Yeah.
highly structured environment like the Army,
Absolutely.
you still need to be able to
Right.
connect with people,
hmm
build relationships,
Yeah.
get everyone moving in the same direction.
Precisely. And this is where those interpersonal skills become really invaluable,
Right.
especially in high-pressure situations.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You're leading a team in a challenging environment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a complex project at work, a tight deadline.
Yeah.
You need to be able to communicate clearly,
Right.
inspire confidence in your team, make sure everyone understands their role.
It's about getting everyone on the same page.
Yes,
Making sure the mission is clear.
exactly.
And fostering that sense of camaraderie
Yes,
that makes people willing
that's a
to
torped.
go the extra mile.
That's it. The KMO part
Yeah.
is about understanding that leadership is inherently a human endeavor.
Right, okay.
It's about connecting with people on a human level,
Yeah.
understanding their motivations, creating an environment where they can do their best work.
Okay, so we've covered the BE, which
Right.
is that foundation of character,
Right.
and the ANW, which is all about understanding people,
Mm-hmm.
and your role as a leader.
Yes.
What about the do part?
Right.
Is that where the rubber meets the road?
100%.
Sorry.
Do is about action. It's
Oh.
about taking all that character, that knowledge, and turning it into tangible results.
Okay.
And just like the other parts of the triangle, the manual provides a framework for effective action.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right.
That's the secret sauce.
It's the secret sauce.
To leadership in action.
All right, so the manual breaks it down into 3 main categories.
Okay.
You've got influencing, operating, and improving.
Influencing, operating, and improving.
Those are the 3 pillars of the Dudo. Triangle. So influencing, operating, and improving.
Right.
Those are the big 3 when
Yep.
it comes to putting leadership into action.
So let's unpack those a little bit.
Okay.
Starting with influencing.
All right, so influencing,
What's that all about?
it's all about, influence.
Okay.
It's how you motivate your team, how you create that positive atmosphere,
Okay.
and how you inspire them to achieve their best.
Sounds like something every coach,
Right.
teacher, team lead could use a little help with.
Every leader
Yeah.
could use a little help with influencing.
For sure.
Right. And the manual doesn't just throw out vague advice
Okay.
like be inspiring or, motivate your team.
Right.
It digs into tactics.
Okay.
It gives you concrete strategies.
So how do
Yeah.
they recommend you influence folks?
Well, for instance, remember how we were talking about adapting your leadership style to
Right.
different situations?
Yeah, like that story about the motor sergeant who
Exactly.
he was usually relaxed, and then
Yeah.
when they got the alert for deployment, he became like all business.
Exactly.
And his team trusted him more
Right.
because they understood
Yeah.
the why behind the choice.
Exactly. They're like, okay, something's different now.
Right.
He's not just like Mr. Relaxed all the time.
Right.
There's a reason, and we trust him more because of it.
Right.
The manual emphasizes that effective influencing, it's not about being a one-trick pony.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes you need to be direct and assertive.
Mm-hmm.
Other times you need to be more collaborative.
Right.
You need to be more understanding.
It's about
Yeah.
reading the room,
Yes. Leading the
understanding the context,
100%.
and adjusting your approach to get the best out of your team.
That's it. It's about being adaptable.
Okay.
It's about being flexible.
Okay, so that's influencing.
That's influencing.
What about this operating?
Okay, so operating. Yeah.
Now, that's the flip side
Okay.
of influencing.
Okay.
Influencing is about inspiring, motivating. Operating is about
Okay.
the nuts and bolts
Okay.
of making things happen.
Right.
Think planning, executing tasks, managing resources, the practical stuff.
So influencing is the art of leadership,
Ooh, I like that.
and operating is the science.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
I like that a lot.
You got to have both.
You need both, right?
Right.
You need the art
Right.
to inspire people, but you also need the
Right.
science,
The process.
the processes,
Yeah.
the systems
Okay.
to get things done.
So tell me about these systems then.
Okay, so the manual talks about, just like any good scientist, right?
Yes. Right.
An effective leader needs a system.
Okay.
They need a way to approach problems.
Right.
They need a way to make decisions.
Okay.
And the manual provides that framework
Okay.
for operating.
So what does that framework
Look like for operating.
Well, it talks a lot about communication.
Okay, communication, sure.
Yep. Making sure everyone understands the game plan,
Okay.
their individual roles, and the desired outcome.
Makes sense.
Right.
You can have the most brilliant strategy in
Yeah.
the world,
Yeah.
but if your team
Exactly.
doesn't know what they're doing
Yeah.
or why they're doing it,
Right.
it's all for nothing.
It's useless.
Right.
You need to bring everyone along,
Right.
and that means clear communication.
Okay.
That means clear expectations.
So clear communication is
Yeah.
key to the operating piece.
It's one of the key pillars, right,
Okay.
of effective operating.
Okay. And then that brings us to
Yes.
the final piece of the do triangle,
Do triangle.
which is improving.
Improving.
So we've influenced people.
Yep.
We have operated.
We've done the thing.
Now we need to figure out how to do it better
Yes. How to get better.
next time
Yes, exactly.
or the next time after that.
Continuous improvement.
Right. So what does the manual have to say about improving?
So the manual is really big on self-reflection
Okay.
and continuous learning,
Okay.
even for those
Yeah.
at the top of the food chain.
Right.
It's not just
Yeah.
for...
It's not just for the new recruits.
It's not just for the privates.
Right.
It's for the generals, too.
Because no one's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
And there's always room to grow.
Always room to grow.
Even for seasoned leaders.
Even for the most experienced leaders.
I like that the Army acknowledges that.
Yeah, it's very humbling.
Yeah.
It's very grounding.
Yeah, because it's easy to get to a certain point in your career.
Right.
And think like, I've made it. I know everything I need to know.
Right, you get comfortable.
Yeah.
You rest on your laurels.
But the Army is saying, no.
There's always more to learn.
There's always room for improvement.
There's always a better way to do things.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
So how do they recommend we go about improving?
So one of the tools they talk about
Okay.
is called an after-action review.
After-action review.
Or an AAR.
AAR?
So after a mission, after a project,
Okay.
the team gets together
Okay.
and they debrief
Oh, interesting.
what went well,
Okay.
what could have been better,
Mm-hmm.
and how can we improve next time.
So it's like a team huddle
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a debrief.
to discuss what went well, what could have been better,
Exactly.
how to improve next time.
100%.
That's something that any team,
Right.
from a sports team to a marketing team,
Any team, any organization.
could benefit from.
Absolutely.
It doesn't even have to be work-related.
It doesn't. It
Right.
could be a family.
Yeah, like how did
Where
that...
did that vacation go?
Yeah, how did that vacation go?
What could we have done better?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about turning those inevitable setbacks
Yes.
into opportunities for growth.
100%. That's it.
I like it.
Right. Turn those mistakes into lessons.
Yeah.
Turn those failures into fuel
Right.
for future success.
It seems like this do part of the triangle
Yeah.
is about striking that balance between
Right.
action and reflection,
Yes.
between pushing forward
Mm-hmm.
and taking the time to learn
Right.
from our experiences.
Exactly. And that emphasis on continuous improvement,
Right.
that's something that really sets the Army's approach apart.
Okay.
It's not about resting on your laurels. It's about
Yeah.
constantly striving to be better.
And that resonates even if you're not
Right.
wearing a uniform.
100%. We could all
Like
use a little more of that
Yeah.
growth mindset.
Growth mindset in our lives.
In our lives, absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Now, speaking of different contexts,
Okay.
the manual also makes this distinction between
Okay.
direct leadership
Okay.
and organizational leadership.
Okay. Let's break that down. What's the difference?
All right, so think of it like this.
Okay.
You've got a platoon sergeant
Mm-hmm.
leading a small group of soldiers
Okay.
in the field.
Okay.
That's direct leadership.
Okay.
It's hands-on.
Okay.
It's face-to-face. And it requires deep expertise
Okay.
in their specific area.
So they need to be
Yeah.
both a master of their craft
Yes.
and a skilled communicator,
100%.
motivator.
They need to be able to do it all
Right.
because they're right there
They're in the trenches.
in the trenches
Right.
with their team.
Okay.
Now, contrast that
Okay.
with a general
Okay.
who oversees a whole division
Right.
or even multiple divisions.
Okay.
That's organizational leadership.
Okay.
They're responsible for setting
Okay.
strategic direction,
Good.
managing resources,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that all the different parts of the organization
Right.
are working together.
So it's a lot more
Bigger picture,
big picture,
Yeah.
right? Less about the day-to-day,
day to day,
less about the tactics,
and more about that,
more about the strategy.
the overarching strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So different scope, different skill set.
Right.
But those core principles from the BANO
Mhm.
framework,
Right.
they still apply.
They still apply, right?
Character, competence,
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to take action,
Okay.
those are timeless qualities
Mm.
of effective leadership, no matter the level.
It's like that old saying, a leader is a leader,
I love that.
regardless of the title.
Regardless of the title,
Yeah.
100%.
But I imagine that leading at the organizational level,
Yes.
dealing with those larger, more complex systems
Of course.
comes with its own set of challenges.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And dilemmas
Yeah, you've got
that maybe you don't face so much
Right.
when you're in that direct leadership role.
When you're in the trenches, yeah,
Yeah.
the stakes are different. Right. The stakes are higher
Right, yeah.
when you're talking about,
Exactly.
a whole division
Right.
versus a platoon.
Exactly. So the manual, it doesn't shy away from those complexities. In
Right.
fact, it actually dedicates a whole section
Oh, interesting.
to ethical decision-making,
Okay.
which is something that becomes even more crucial
Yeah.
as leaders climb the ranks.
Because the stakes get higher.
Stakes are higher.
Right. And the impact of your decisions
The impact is greater.
is felt by a much wider
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah, more people are affected by
Right.
your decisions.
And it's not always so
Right.
black and white.
Right. It's not always easy
Right.
to discern the right course of action.
Right, yeah.
Because there might be multiple right answers.
Right.
There might be...
Or no right answer.
Or no right answers. It's a lot more gray area.
So how does the manual
Yeah.
equip leaders to navigate those ethically murky waters?
Well, it provides a framework,
Okay.
a set of steps
Right.
to help leaders make ethical decisions,
Okay.
even when faced with these really complex situations
All
where
right.
there isn't always a clear right or wrong answer.
So we're talking ethical dilemmas, right?
Right.
Those leadership crossroads.
Yeah.
Where the easy answer
Mm-hmm.
might not be the right one.
Right. Where you can't just go with your gut.
Like
You
that.
have to really think it through.
So what does that framework look like?
Okay, so it starts with, like,
Yeah.
clearly defining the problem,
Okay, define the problem.
which sounds simple,
Right.
but you'd be surprised
Right.
how often people jump into solutions.
Right, without even really knowing
Yeah, exactly.
what the problem
Without
is.
understanding all the complexity.
Exactly.
All the nuances.
It's like that old adage.
Yes.
If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
That's a good one.
Right.
You need a
The
destination.
clear destination.
Yes.
Ethically speaking.
Ethically speaking.
Okay, so we've defined the problem.
Okay.
What's next?
So then the manual says,
Okay.
you got to look at the rules.
Okay, look at the rules.
And I don't just mean written regulations here.
Right, because sometimes...
Sometimes the rules are,
Yeah,
don't cover everything.
right. Or the rules might even be...
Or the rules might be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Unethical. So this is about understanding the spirit of the law,
Okay.
the unwritten norms and values
Okay.
of your organization, of your team, and even your own personal
Right.
code of ethics.
So it's about
Yeah.
knowing the boundaries.
Yes. Knowing the boundaries,
Right.
knowing lines you can't cross.
The lines you absolutely cannot
Yeah,
cross.
yeah.
And then figuring out how to navigate
Right.
within those constraints.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you know the rules, you know your boundaries.
Right. Yeah. The real work comes in brainstorming
Oh,
possible courses of action.
okay. So brainstorming solutions.
Brainstorming solutions.
Okay.
But not just
Right.
settling
Right.
for the first
Yeah.
seemingly acceptable one.
Well, just go with the first thing that pops into your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be exhaustive.
Okay.
Explore all the angles.
Okay.
Even the ones that make
wow.
you uncomfortable.
Channel your inner devil's advocate a little bit.
Yes.
Oh,
Play devil's advocate.
okay.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Okay.
Because it's only after you've laid out
Yeah.
all the possibilities that you can really start evaluating them
Mm-hmm. Okay.
against your values.
And the manual emphasizes that every decision,
Every decision,
even the small ones,
even the small ones,
have ethical implications.
they do
Right.
because they shape.
It might seem like a small thing,
Yeah.
but it could have a ripple effect. Exactly, a ripple effect. And it
Yeah.
becomes this pattern of behavior.
Okay, so it's not just about like
Right.
avoiding scandal or anything like that.
Exactly. It's about,
It's about really asking yourself,
yes,
does this decision
does this
align with
my core value?
values? Does this uphold the trust
Right.
that's been placed in me?
Okay.
Right? Am I being the leader I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, that I want to be.
Exactly.
Right.
100%.
Okay, so I've looked at all my options.
Okay.
I've considered
Mm-hmm.
whether they align with my values.
Yeah.
What happens if, and I think this is
Right.
probably pretty common,
Yeah.
what happens if
Mm-hmm.
there's no perfect solution,
Right.
right? What if you're faced with a situation
Yeah.
where
Where it's
lose-lose?
the lose-lose. All right.
Yeah.
It's the lesser of two evils.
Right. You've got these 2 bad choices or 3 bad choices or whatever.
Exactly. What do you do then? What do you do?
Right.
What does the manual say about navigating those impossible choices?
It emphasizes
Okay.
transparency
Okay.
and communication.
Communication. So
Yeah.
be upfront about the challenges.
Yes.
Explain your reasoning.
Exactly. Don't just
make the decision in a vacuum.
Exactly. Don't be a dictator about it.
Right.
Explain why you're making this impossible choice.
Right.
Be open to feedback,
Even if it's
even if you don't want to hear it.
negative.
Yeah, even if it's tough to hear, because
Because people are going to be more understanding
exactly
if they understand the why.
people are more likely to get on board,
Right.
even if they don't like the decision.
If they feel heard.
If they feel heard.
If they feel like you've considered their perspective.
Exactly, because you've been transparent.
So it's about acknowledging those tough choices,
Mhm.
taking ownership
Yes,
of your decisions,
owning it.
and being accountable.
Absolutely. And
Thanks to outcomes.
that's huge.
Right.
That's what separates
Yeah.
the good leaders from the great leaders.
It's that accountability piece.
Accountability, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the BE, T, and AW do framework.
Right.
We've explored ethical decision-making.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground.
It's covered a lot.
What have we missed? What else is in this manual?
Oh, there's so much more.
Okay.
We've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
But I think the key takeaway
Okay.
for me
Yeah.
is that leadership, it's not about
Yeah.
inheriting a title
Right.
or having all the answers.
Mhm.
It's about constantly learning,
Right.
growing, adapting.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. It's a process.
It's not a destination.
It's not a destination.
Right.
And it's something that
Yeah.
anyone can embrace.
I love that.
Whether you're
Yeah.
leading a team at work, in your community,
Mhm.
even just in your own family. These principles,
I don't
they
know.
apply.
They're universal.
They're universal.
And we could all probably use a little bit more
We could all
ethical and effective leadership
we could all be better leaders.
in our life.
Absolutely. 100%.
This has been great.
This was fun.
I really enjoyed this deep dive.
Me too. I always learn something new when we do these.
Yeah, me too.
It's great.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
to our listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you for listening.
for this deep dive into the U.S. Army Leadership Field Manual.
Hopefully you got something out of it.
Hopefully you learned a thing or two about leadership
And about yourself.
and about yourself.
Until next time.
Until next time.